So now we have the first panel discussion of the second day of the Global Education, APAC 4th Global Education and Skills Conclave. And before we start on the panel discussion, it would be pertinent to talk about the partners who have supported us for these two-day conclave, powered by Autodesk, Platinum partner PeopleLink, Cybersecurity partner Fortinet, Gold partner Learning Spiral, FinTech partner Jodo, Associate partners Early Salary, Finance PR Digital Campus partner Colpol, Blockchain startup partner Beyond Imagination Technologies, Credential partner True Scholar, Education partner APJ Foundation, University partners Avantika University, and school partner, the Orbis School. For the next panel discussion, I would like to welcome Mr. Shobhi Goswami, the co-founder of APAC News Network. He will be moderating the panel discussion, and I would like to invite him on stage.
Thanks, Rajneesh. Good morning to all of you. And coincidentally, the second day of APAC Global Education and Skill Conclave falls on the very important day of World Youth Skill Day. And the theme of this year has been transforming future skills of youth. That has been the theme of this year. And what best occasion to celebrate the importance of education and skilling. And all the leaders from the education fraternity are here today. They were present also here yesterday. And for this session, a very important session on gamification and augmented reality, how they're empowering educational institutions. We have galaxy of speakers with us from the education fraternity of the country. Let me first invite Mr. Sanjeev Bansal, DG EarnIt. A huge round of applause for him, please. We all know how important role being played by EarnIt. It's a scientific autonomous body under the Ministry of Electronics and IT Government of India. They are dedicated to support the research and education community, and not only providing connectivity, but also providing consulting, training to the education institutions. I can say, just like NIC, EarnIt is the backbone of digital empowerment for the scientific and education community on behalf of the government. It's an honor to welcome you, sir. We are also joined by Dr. Uma Bharadwaj, Vice Chancellor of Noida International University. Huge round of applause for her, please. We're also joined by Srihari Prakash Honwar, former president of Sir Padampad Singhania University from Udaipur. We have been interacting for last 2 years virtually. The first time we have met in last 2 years. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're also joined by Professor Dr. N.K. Sinha, Vice Chairman of Vice Chancellor of Maharaja Agrasen Himalayan Garhwal University, Puri. We welcome Mr. Sinha. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're also joined by industry leader CA Mayur Zanwar, co-founder of True Scholar. Huge round of applause for him, please. And we are also joined by Mr. Rajendra Singh, senior business leader, Colpol. Mr. Rajendra is here? Yeah. Huge round of applause for all the eminent speakers of this panel. A panel on gamification and augmented reality, how they're empowering education institutions across the country. Thank you all of you for joining us today. Let me start the panel with Mr. Sanjeev. Sanjeev, before we come to the point of gamification, augmented reality and all those things, I just want you to give a perspective of how EarnIt is transforming the education and scientific community in the country, because EarnIt is a very important institutions on the mighty government of India. Maybe quickly in a minute or so, if you just can give an overview, that will help us all to understand what important role is being played by EarnIt. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting EarnIt India in this August gathering. and in this conclave. ARNET India is a pioneer institution in the country in the education and research network field. And we have been present for more than 25 years now in this field. And we are kind of transforming the whole education system in terms of making it digitized. Whether it is school education, we have connected thousands of schools using digital infrastructure. The kind of probable solution which have been displayed by Mr. Shah in the earlier session. Other than that, we are providing Wi-Fi campuses also for many universities and colleges in the country, so that there is a seamless connectivity between the classrooms or the departments or the hostels, etc. in this. Other than that, we are actually a very big satellite service provider for education and research institutes, particularly connecting those institutes which are in the remote areas of the country. We are present in all the 11 islands of Lakshadweep group of islands. We are present in Andaman and Nicobar. We are present in northeastern region and many region where remote schools are also to be connected. As you know that in the new education policy of 2020, major focus is on digitization. And Honorable Prime Minister in the last month meeting of when he was reviewing this NEP 2020, he also emphasized that there has to be a hybrid mode of education going forward. So in that, not only as has been displayed in the presentation, that we have to have a physical classroom, but virtual as well simultaneous. So it's a hybrid model. And we are into this kind of solution providing. Other than that, ARNET India is also focusing on now providing data center also for the country. And we are the, if you see the this thing registry, domain registry for ac.in or edu.in or bharat.vidya, etc. In all these registries, we are the sole registrar for that registry. So all the education institute which are having domain name as .ac.in or .edu.in, they are all registered with ARNET India, and we are the exclusive registry for them, and we are expanding also in that area. So we are touching upon almost every aspect of the education, right from student digital infrastructure provisioning, then connectivity we are providing. We are providing diet kind of solution in many of the states, where through one district center you are able to impart education in maybe many of the tehsil or block level of schools, so that the problem of teacher who are not reaching to say rural areas can be solved, or you are able to provide the quality education, the quality teacher. We have also connected more than 50 National Medical College Network, including 6 AIMS, including AIMS Delhi and other Ranchi and Bhopal, etc., 2 PGIs and many of the medical colleges, to provide high quality digital infrastructure and connectivity as well, so that from any college, any expert of the subject, whether in the medical science, they can take lecture, and which will be in interactive mode, and remaining say institute students can attend. So we are into all kind of solution provisioning in the education and research net. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us an overview of what ARNET is doing. Education and Research Institute, now commonly known as ARNET. Let's come to the subject of today's discussion. How do you think that augmented reality or gaming actually can transform the teaching experience or empower institutions? Or do you think it's a myth?
No, it is going to be a very big reality, I will say like that. Because being a technocrat and into the field of, this field education, as well as earlier I was in connectivity field, I can say this is going to be a transformational in nature. Because gamification, it is very important that whoever is the learner, he should have the ownership of the learning. And gamification actually provides that kind of environment where you own your learning. You learn as per your pace. You are given some challenges in the form of games, and you are able to achieve that. You can get some marks or some, some points, etc. You can have competition with your peers. You can have team building also. You can have fun in learning. So those kind, because ultimately our aim is to have concentration, to have engagement, and to have focus in the learning, and which is actually provided by a game, which by itself nature is addictive in addictive feature is there. So you are actually by gaming, you are in the process, you are learning. So that is very, very important thing. Second is the augmented reality, where you are plotting the virtual world over the real world in terms of by sensor or camera, and then you are processing the information, you are putting that information, then you are reflecting on that information. So that is a very big, actually game changer, I can say like that. So far it has not taken much because of the connectivity, which of course we are having good connectivity in terms of 4G, but going forward, when from 26th of July we are having 5G auction. Once this 5G technology will come, these areas will really get impetus actually. A lot of transformation is going to come, because this gamification or augmented really, they require a lot of bandwidth, they require a lot of data processing, etc. So coupled with connectivity, high speed connectivity, coupled with high processing capability using cloud computing, etc., and coupled with the kind of software power which we are having, the software which we are developing. So that is going to be really game changing. And presently what we are doing in gamification is we are just gaming individually, but once this connectivity using 5G will come, it will be a competition or collaborative games across the classrooms, across the cities, across the you can say nation. So that way it is going to transformative in nature. So it is not a myth, it is a reality which is going to come, and we all the education institute should prepare themselves for upcoming.
It's why I referred to that coinage myth, because yesterday when we had a panel discussion, most of the speakers were telling that let's see technology as an enabler. Don't harp on technology every time. That's why, because there's always a threat of misusing of technology, especially for kids when you're talking about. That's why I gave that reference of myth. Thanks for sharing your vision on that. Let's have a perspective from Dr. Uma Bharadwaj, Vice Chancellor of Noida International University. Ma'am, your thoughts on the present and future of leveraging augmented reality or gaming for empowering institutions?
A very good afternoon to all of you. Thanks to APAC making me the part of this discussion. When we talk about the gamification or the augmented reality, I'm sure everybody must be hearing a word, metaverse these days. The metaverse-based universities are coming up. Even in Miami, if you can say in US, they've already started experimenting on the metaverse. That's the future of the world. Because when we talk of gamification, so the moment we talk about the gamification, as he has just said, that means the competition automatically gets into it. What we want in the student, that competitive thought process need to be there. So when I talk about the metaverse, as he said that we have a 5G technology if it is coming soon, because ultimately the technology should be a very robust system to have the university, virtual universities, metaverse, using the metaverse. If I can see it, the metaverse is not a new word. If I remember in 1992, in a novel which was, I think, Snow Crash, it was written by the Neil Stephenson, and there he talked about the metaverse. And the technology has been used into many video games, because when I watch my daughter watching these video games using these metaverse technology, where we really learn a lot by these things. If you remember the film Avatar, in that also there was the use of this metaverse. You need to have the sophisticated headsets. When I really see few of the video games these days, the graphics, we really need to work on graphics a lot. Because the new way of pedagogy is based on these gamification, augmented reality, and metaverse based. I think the coming technology is definitely going to do wonders in education, because when we talk of learning, the picture has a better memory registration as compared to if you just teach in a classroom in a theoretical manner. So we really need to go for a lot of graphics need to be worked in each of the programs, subject based, and that's actually a big challenge, because then you need to have the skilled professionals in the market. First, we really need to have the trained skilled professionals who can start working in these directions. So it would be there, but I don't think so. Soon within 5 years, this is going to be like implemented to each and everywhere, because when we talk about we should have blend mode of virtual teaching in the classroom as well as having a student from the remote area. But the biggest challenge we have at present is of the signal problem. In the remote areas, no signals are there. So definitely these things are going to change the whole terminology in the education. The pedagogy is going to be changed, and the better results we can have from the student, because the student would be, more passionate about it. The involvement, engagement would be more from the student side. So I think so, yes, I welcome this technology. They should be there. And we have a future in that. Thank you.
Right. And it also reminds me of that news and information we saw that even the marriages are happening in metaverse. So who can neglect the power of metaverse? So it's all ominous. Let me take a different perspective from Professor from Mr. Honwar. I know he loves to point out the criticality of things, so let me have a perspective on that. Mr. Honwar, we're talking about this technology, emerging technologies, that's all fine, but how can university or the universities can ensure seamless connectivity and availability of devices to students? Because if that's not there, whatever technology you're talking about, we are talking in the air. So what is your thought on that? That what needs to be done more by the university stakeholders?
Let me first put things in perspective. We have two people who have really looked at the future. Let me go back a bit in the past, at least a little bit. I think this gamification is not a new thing. All our BA teachers have been taught how to teach with role play. That's the beginning of a gamification. A whole lot of our organizations do this team building exercises, which is nothing but gamification. You go to law school, they have these moot courts, which are nothing but gamification. Come to management, a lot of things in management are taught by gamification. My friend here is from economics. I'm sure there are, those stock exchange games which they would like to play. A whole lot of it is, basically we call it experiential learning. Question is, why experiential learning? Essentially, in the West, people have tried to give it multiple names. There are theories about cognitive skills. I think in our premier institutions, in fact in any class, out of 60, you have 10% of students who have got excellent cognitive skills. They can learn on their own. They understand how the learning process works. The others supplement it by what people in the West call behavioral observations or behavioral skills, learn from others kind of a thing. These will happen as long as there is active learning, and that's what I think both my previous speakers have said. The student should own his learning. I think that's the phrase you used, if I recall correctly. I think active learning is what we universities want to implement. And in today's world, I think active learning is way away from either our students or our teachers. Our teachers have, practiced the sage on stage model because that's very safe. Active learning is not easy. One example of active learning, I'm taking you back, more than 5,000 years possibly. The Bhagavad Gita is not something which was given by Sri Krishna to Arjuna. It's a flipped classroom. He only answered Arjuna's questions. We fail to understand that, and we try to read it as an upadesh or learning, and we fail to really absorb Bhagavad Gita. That means you have to have that ability to ask those questions, only then you can understand those answers. That's, I think, what is missing in an active learning process. We do so many different things in active learning, and gamification is, collaborative learning is again a gamification. Today, using technology, we are trying to provide virtual partners for the student for his learning. I mean, it's like playing chess with a computer. You don't have the other opponent, but the computer is, responding to your moves and teaching you in the process. I think that's what gamification is going to be. Now, how do we extend it? I guess, Madam has already identified issues regarding signals. I think we are trying the wrong way. We are trying to push the classroom experience to a larger audience. I think we should do away with the classroom by all means. Those who come into the classroom, give them the classroom experience. Those who are away from classroom, let them learn it when they want to learn it. Let them learn it as they would like to learn it. And at a pace they are most comfortable with learning it. Because inside the classroom, the pace gets invariably determined by the teacher. I am yet to find a teacher who can let the students determine the pace at which learning can happen. I think active learning is all about student-led learning. We have a long way to go before we settle down. I think the other part of it is devices being made available across. Well, there was a time when the so-called cell phone was a luxury item. Today, my vegetable vendor has 2 cell phones, each costing less than 2,000 rupees, and each practically capable of what my cell phone, which in terms of performance. I think that's the revolution which will happen when we are already, in the morning we saw a presentation where the cost had come down to 50%. I'm sure there is a long way to go there. When the costs come down from 50% to 10%, I'm sure we will be in a position to make sure that all the devices, the technology, the software, everything is made available. The second aspect of technology, where I would like technology to be used, is if we want to build cognitive skills amongst our students. I'm sure we all had our friends. Some of them took notes where they practically wrote down everything the teacher said. The teacher is giving you in a linear fashion. And there were friends who would, do a lot of doodling on a page. And they would go back and they understood the doodling. They knew what the doodling meant. They would recall the lecture. I think that was basically a mind map building exercise. What we have done is, using the technology and the softwares, we are trying to create the linear delivery into a mind map kind of a delivery, which probably is the wrong way to do it, although it's much better in terms of delivery to the student. But if we want to build that ability to build those mind maps, I think with augmented reality, if we can help the student build a 3D mind map for himself, which he can use in applications and solving problems, that's the proof of the pudding. I think that would be the day when we would have established a system which we are trying to dream of. And that is what I hope the NEP is driving us towards. And all this talk about outcome-based education will be meaningful when we bring in active learning into the minds of all our students.
Bringing active learning into the minds of the students. I think it's a perfect cue for Professor Dr. N.K. Sinha, Vice Chancellor of Maharaja Agrasen Himalayan Garhwal University from Puri. Your thoughts about that, sir? Mr. Honwa talked about the cost effectiveness also, long way to go, but bringing active minds to the minds of the pupil, that's the most important thing. And in fact, all of us. So your thoughts on that? Do you agree or do you have some different point of view, sir?
Yeah. So active learning particularly, we have implemented new education policy NEP 2020. And we are focusing on the continuous learning, evaluation, and learning must be outcome-based learning, and evaluation must be spontaneous, not the year-end examination. It is on daily basis evaluation will be made. No doubt, this gamification is a not new concept, particularly in the field of management education. I remember 25 years back, we were in induction training program at Aligarh Muslim University in 1998. One HR consultant, Mrs. Kalpana Sharma, she used to take class not for half an hour or an hour. She has taken classes for 3 days continuously. And none of the training, particularly we were academicians there, felt bored. This is the essence of gamification. That gamification has made interaction interesting. And all the participants enjoyed learning and enriched their knowledge base. So, this gamification or technology, no doubt, will widen our education system. Recently, we have seen when we have a pandemic situation and none of us were able to have offline classes. It is online classes. And this online classes has given at least some part of our education at current level. Otherwise, we might have been 2 years back in education. So this internet gamification or the technology used to help us in a larger perspective. Challenge to a teacher is a bigger nowadays because most of the students having internet connectivity in their cell phone and so many inputs available on the internet, and when they are going to the classroom they have at least basic idea about the subject. Whether the subject is okay or not, I don't go for that, but at least they have basic idea about the subject in which they are going to interact. So the teachers has to prepare on daily basis, not on daily basis, even class basis, that they have to interact with the minds, with the young people, having basic idea. In our times, we had books and we used to read it in the house. Some of us might not have a standard book at that time, but now students have facility that they can have a standard book through the internet. So this technology will help us and will widen the access of knowledge. And most important thing is that the student will not get bored in the classroom, that if he is not getting classroom as per his wish. So this gamification or the model or the technology will help them to learn in better way. So in my view, although it has limitations till now, because most of the government universities is lacking, private universities, they are following or adopting immediately, but the government university is still lacking for this. So we have two sections of these students. If we see that the remote area, like from where I am, it is Pauri Garhwal, where it is very difficult to access the nearby technology area. We have internet in our campus, but internet connectivity is not so strong that all the students may get connected immediately. So even today we have limitations of the gamification or active learning through web technology or internet. So this is my perspective. Thank you.
Very important and interesting perspective. That's a completely different perspective, because till now we are discussing about the Tier 1 cities and the upmarket students, creamy layer of students, and premier institutes. But Sir has talked about the challenges of running a university or a college, where there's a challenge of accessibility, connectivity. If that's not there, augmented reality and gamification, that will come later. But what about improving the accessibility or the connectivity? I'm sure the government is working on that. As Sir was saying, the 5G is on the anvil, and the BharatNet and all those things. I'm sure in the coming years or so, things will be much more improved, which has improved over the years. What we used to have 5 years back, now things have improved. As Mr. Hohenwasser has also talked about the penetration of mobile phones, not only about Tier 1 cities, but Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, even villages also. I'll take a cue from what Professor N. Kesina has said. He talked about some of the challenges. Let's hear from C.A. Mayur Anwar, co-founder of True Scholar. As a technology enabler, I won't ask you what kind of solutions your organization is providing, but I want to know from you, what are the challenges according to you, and how those challenges can be overcome by using or leveraging technology? Your thoughts on that?
Thank you. I just like to add a follow-up remarks on the comments given by Sir. That definitely three important aspect here is that reaction, action, and adoption, which is very much important. As Sir rightly pointed, there is a quite mismatch in the adoption in private universities and central universities. Or government universities, in fact. So they react, in fact, all the authorities react very well, they understand the situation. But at the time of adoption, it takes time, little bit bureaucratic, I'd like to say in that way. Because recently I can share just one example, experience which I had when one of the university. Being a chartered accountant, I was auditing university. And in year 2000, 2021, they were teaching VAT, value added tax. Actually, GST has already been implemented in July 2017. So even after 4 years, they have not changed the syllabus. Just for the sake of example, I'm trying to say that why we need to react and adopt the new changes fast. So adoption is more important. Secondly, the challenge I see is that teachers training in AR and gamification is equally important. The learners are now what they are saying, the perception is that, like Elon Musk is saying, driverless car. So students are thinking in this way, whether teacherless class can be possible. So that should not be the situation. In fact, before giving the experience of AR, VR, and even metaverse, like Eduverse will be coming in down the line, the teachers and the faculty and the faculty should be acquainted with all technologies very well, so that they can really be part of this digital transformation and transforming the whole idea. We cannot keep them aloof. Everyone is aware of that. Now the learner and the students are having all the resources available on the mobile phone itself. So, in fact, before going to class also, they can just view all the sessions in their on-thread. But I think the teachers, faculty should be part of this journey of delivering the knowledge to the learners, and they should themselves engage. I already did all my fellow panelists, how it is engaging, it is immersive, and it is very joyful and engagement. Even in corporate training, we see that 40% of time is being allotted to gamification, so that the corporate or CEO, CFO just enjoy the training. The same way, I think the faculties need to get update and reskill themselves before imparting the knowledge. Thank you.
I'll take a cue from what you said, Rajendra ji. Your thoughts on the challenges of gamification and augmentability. It's a necessity now. There's no denying that fact. But as a representative of the tech solution providers, your thoughts, you heard all this eminent speakers for last 45 minutes or so. Do you have a different perspective, or do you think that everything has been said already, or do you have something new to add to it?
Thank you, Sovik. And I have heard all my co-panelists, and as far as this knowledge imparting is concerned, education is concerned, we have all gone through this journey, and it's no different for learner. You know, in classes, in a school, when there used to be 4 or 5 classes, different set of teachers used to be there, and I'm sure we all had different level of experience with different teachers. And the differentiating factor used to be what technique teacher is using for teaching. There are, a class where teacher will start reading chapter from line 1 to line 3, para 1 to para 2, para 3. And another way was storytelling. And I'm sure each one of us have enjoyed the class where teacher used to tell stories. This is one part. Second is models, to make things understood by the students. I remember I myself attended one training in Department of Electronics in 1995, and teachers were from IIT. Professor KK Biswas was teaching us robotics in 95. Dr. Veena Kumar was teaching us communication. And that time, those projector used not to be there. There used to be OSPs, overhead projectors, and we used to use transparencies. And Dr. Veena Kumar taught us how to make overlapping transparencies, and the concept which she's chosen and she gave us the task to make was to show how to teach computer organization, input unit, output unit, CPU. And she asked us to make 4 transparencies. There will be base transparency, left wrap, right wrap, bottom and up. And then with that concept, when we tried ourselves in our classes, so we were able to make that concept understood by the student very effectively. So this is one example, and I'm sure in our school time also, college time also, we have seen teachers struggling to make an image on the blackboard. And we can understand in 2D environment how difficult it used to be to teach the cube. the third dimension. So the struggle teachers have gone through, still they were making their best effort to make things understood by students. Right now, we are blessed with the technology. Blackboards have been replaced by smart board. So why to restrict our teacher to same old way of 2D teaching? Why not to get into 3D? That is the base. When it comes to gamification and virtual reality, I think gamification, the way I have told storytelling, same way if things are being told to us in the form of game, even before the technology also, we have understood teamwork, different kind of games, like we have understood the concept very well. Now we are blessed with this technology, we should completely adopt, there is no reason. Yes, there was, a situation like far-flung areas that connectivity is not there, but we are thankful to government that they are making every possible effort to make that connectivity possible, to last mile connectivity. And we should not, we should grab this opportunity. There is no reason that we should deprive our students, our teachers from using this technology. As a technology company, we are working currently with 100+ institutions in different part of countries. And this kind of requirement are coming from teachers only. The platform should be such where they should be able to impart education using augmented reality, gamification and all. So this is need of the hour, and I am 100% what my co-panelists has said.
Good. And I think it's a reality, whether the students are there in school or not. Anyways, they're using VR or gaming in a big way. We never imagined that. Maybe all of you are elder to me. Even 20 years back, we even never thought of using those kind of technology. My 2-year-old son uses a smartphone just like anything, YouTube and everything. They're anyways into gamification and augmented reality. I'm just that, how can we leverage for teaching outcome? I think that's the important point, which we can all delve upon. I think we're running short of time, but still, I'll give 30 seconds to all of you quickly, just to take a perspective on the future. We talked about the present, the past also, and to some extent of the future. But where do you see Indian education scenario going? Maybe 5 years down the line, because things are changing fast. NEP is being implemented, and there are a lot of aspects of NEP is very important for building up that kind of education ecosystem. Let me start with Mr. Sanjeev. Quickly, 30 seconds to you, sir. Future is bleak or bright?
It's a very bright future, I will say like that. Actually, India may be a little late in adopting, but once it adopts, it moves very fast. If you see in this fintech area, like which we do all kind of transaction using mobile and app-based, so many. Now we are the 40% of the total world, and we actually started very late. So this has been our characteristic. We are called that we are slow starter, but once we move very fast. Same thing is going to happen in EdTech field also. Earlier we had FinTech as wave, now we will have EdTech as wave, and where technology will play a very significant role. We are very good content developer. We are having a very good connectivity using fiber, BBNL, that Bharat Broadband fiber. We have a very good connectivity in terms of 4G. Now we are moving to 5G. Its auction is going for the spectrum is going to be starting from 26th of July. So maybe by this year end or maybe early year, beginning of year, we will have 5G starting rolling out from this. So we will have content, we will have connectivity. We have the cost, which is the lowest in the world, I can say, in terms of data cost, which we are. That is why our mobile data download is the highest in the world. On an average, every Indian per month is downloading more than 15 GB data per month. So you multiply this with 1.2 billion mobile, that kind of data download is happening at present. We are downloading much more data than the entire South America, all countries together. But coming with 5G, this is going to increase very much, and this gamification, augmented reality, where a lot of data requirement will be there, lot of processing will be needed, lot of cloud computing, etc. will be needed. We are very strong in all this field, and that is why, and we are actually, every Indian is by mind is a technology mind actually. They are the solution oriented people. So we identify the problem, and then we have multiple solutions and we choose the best solution. So I am 100% sure our future is very bright and we will move very fast in this field as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjeev Bansal, DG Augmented. Dr. Uma Bharadwaj, quickly, 30 seconds to you, ma'am.
Yeah, actually, when I'm a biotechnologist, so for coming generation, the genomic configuration is automatically done as per the environmental adaptability. So we should not bother about the coming generation. The only challenges is for the people like us for this generation, and we're definitely we are adapted with the system very well. So this is definitely a bright future is there, because today we do not have to teach a child how to operate a smartphone. They know it automatically with their genomic configuration. When COVID-19 came, then only the real meaning of virtual everybody understood. Before this, so many regulatory bodies in the country which are sitting, we could not have thought of online viva voce. We could not think of online PhD presentations. Lot of checks were there on that. But now a lot of adaptability is there. So since that time when we suffered for 2 years and suddenly we had to, see how to cope up with the system now from offline to online, then definitely, everybody started thinking about the software-based online learning. And so many software suddenly came into the market. Since then, people are talking about metaverse and gamification and augmented reality and everything. So this is nothing, the reality, which was the gamification and everything was already existing. Even when I was a student, it was already there. The only thing is now that the reality is converting into the augmented reality, because we are now switching from a real platform to the virtual platform. So I am sure we have a bright future.
Thanks, Mr. Srihari Prakash Honwar, quickly, sir, 30 seconds.
I'm going to say ditto to both of them, except that the process of this adaptation is going to be very, very painful, merely by the virtue of the size and also the range of economic divide we have, and the opportunities that are available. That's going to be a painful part, but as they say, इंतजार का फल हमेशा मीठा ही होगा. Eventually, I'm sure the country will adopt. Indians are known for the Jugaad technology, Jugaad mindset, and we will all adopt. And we have seen in the past, when the technology changed, from free-to-air channels to the cable TV, you go back and the majority of the employment was in those STD booths. Then it got transformed to the cable walas. Now today, the same this thing is available in the Wi-Fi service providers. I think we will adopt. I'm sure there will be people who will see those opportunities and build those skills and provide those services, even for AR, VR kind of technologies. Even our villages will have, for example, today villages have these mobile repairers. I'm sure they will eventually have the corresponding service providers. And we will, I should be saying, we shall overcome these times also.
Right. And who knows, we're only talking about AR, VR, who knows in 2 years down the line what new kind of technology will be there.
And what new kind of challenges
yes, then AR and VR might be a thing of past, you never know. So we all have to adapt to the new changes. Professor N.K. Sinha, quickly, 30 seconds to you, because you raised a very important and pertinent point of connectivity and accessibility. How you want to end how you want to end this panel with your thoughts?
So just my earlier panelist has given their vote to adoption of technology. I'm not different from them, but as you said, the difference is the availability of the inputs to the student at different part of the country with different economic background. And I come to know the day before yesterday in a meeting with Uttarakhand government that the government of India is going to launch more than 200 television channels to cope up with these challenges of connectivity, because at least most of the houses television connections are there, and it is free to air channels will be given, and a student will get benefited with all these connectivity. So this virtual learning is the reality nowadays, but we cannot forget the real learning also important, and it should be blended with the real and virtual. And no doubt future is bright, and the next generation, as we had goal-oriented people in our country, and whatever Indian adopted, they have adopted in the fullest extent. So we expect that all of our future generation will adopt it wholeheartedly and will get benefited with it, barring few of the negativity. We will find that these virtual learning system will be the future of India, future of the world. Thank you.
Future of India. Mayur, quickly.
Yeah. Definitely, I think a big positive side for this. I can give the reference when the budget itself is showing that digital universities coming in India, and there was a specific mention of AR, VR, and gamification in the finance budget by the finance minister. You can see there is a positive side from the intent is very clear from the government, as well as I think all the decision maker also here are very positive of implementing this aspect in the near future, and there is a good inclination for everyone, all the stakeholders to collaborate and work. How the startups and the various entrepreneurs are working in close understanding with various educational bodies these days. So gone are the days when a single university used to take a shape up for 10 years. It is the timeline was 10 years, but now in a span of 5 to 6 months, we can see a digital university coming in India. So I think a very positive side for all this adoption. Thank you.
I'll end with Rajendra Singh.
Yeah, I agree with you, my all co-panelist, and two things I will just cover over here.
But quickly.
One is, will not take more than 30 seconds. These additional 5 seconds. So, Professor Nankishore has rightly said, the blended learning basically. You cannot be completely dependent on virtual learning. With blended learning, with the facility, with the infrastructure available, at least we can continue with the learning. There are no disruption, we'll stop learning. And we have learned this very effectively during this pandemic. Right? There are disruption in our daily life. There are schools need to be closed for 1 month. 2 years back, schools were closed for two months in Delhi. Will we deprive our student, our kid from education? No. But I think with this, whatever is available right now, we can overcome these disruptions. This is one thing. Second, internship. Our student struggle to get internship, just to get exposure of the real life thing. I think with virtual reality, this gap of exposing our student or learner to the industry can be fulfilled. So I am very hopeful, I'm very positive, the future is very bright, and this will bring revolution in our education system. Wherever there are gaps, we will be able to plug those gaps with this.
Right. This brings us to the end of a very important and insightful panel discussion on the gamification and augmented reality, how they are empowering education institutions. We talked about the advantages, we talked about the challenges, we talked about the present and the future, and as Mr. Honwar has said, that we also talked about the past when we went back to the ages of Bhagavad Gita. So I'll take a cue from what he has said and end the panel discussion. We are talking about technology and all those things. You all talked about active learning and all those things. but I think not many will know that this kind of things have been done at least 100 years back in a country like India, in a state called West Bengal, where Rabindranath Tagore established Vishwa Bharati and Path Bhavan School in Shantiniketan. Whatever we are discussing today, whatever has been envisaged in NEP, all have been done in Vishwa Bharati and Path Bhavan School in Shantiniketan. You talked about students coming out of schools. Still today, in that school, classes actually happen in the open field. So I think we can always learn from the past to move into the right direction in the future. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for all of them. Sanjeev Bansal, DG Ernest, Dr. Uma Bharadwaj, Vice Chancellor, Noida International University, Sri Hari Prakash Honwar, former President Sir Padampat Singhani University, Udaipur, Dr. N.K. Sinha, Vice Chancellor, Maharaja Agrasen, Himalayan Garawal University, CMIU Zanwar, co-founder of True Scholar, and Rajendra Singh, Senior Business Leader from Kolpal. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. Can we have the speaker mementos on stage, please? I request Mr. Rajneesh Dey, Consulting Editor of APAC News Network, to come on stage and hand over the token of appreciation to all our speakers. We can start with Mr.
Augmented reality.
Oh, no denying that fact, ma'am. No denying that fact. You can start with Mr. Sanjeev Bansal, the DG Ernest. A huge round of applause for him, please. To Dr. Uma Bharadwaj. To Sri Hari Prakash Honwar. Dr. N.K. Sinha. CA Mayur Zanwar. To Mr. Rajendra Singh. I request all of you to have a group photo with the mementos in your hand, please. And with this, I would like to invite Mr. Nikhil Goyal, co-founder of Beyond Imagination Technologies, to come on stage for his presentation. Thank you so much. Can we have a group photo, please?